Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to make your first million? And today we have an entrepreneur from North Carolina. Kevin, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Kevin Dunlap. I own a company called Ultimate Performance Academy, and essentially what we do is we help entrepreneurs become a lot more successful in what they're doing, either through one of our online coaching programs, or our online courses, or our private one-on-one coaching sessions. This is what we do.
Okay, Kevin, so tell us how you become an entrepreneur.
Well, that's actually a very long story. Back in the day, I was a computer programmer working on a project called Y2K. If you remember that, that was like back in 1999.
Wow.
And I thought I had a stable job, and then I came to work one day, and my boss said, "Hey, we cannot find you another gig to work on, so we're going to have to let you go." And the way they let me go was a very bad way of letting something go, or letting someone go. And that's when I realized there was no security in job security. This is over 25 years ago.
Wow.
And then I found my first company. Because I was out looking for another job, and then I found this opportunity, which happened to be a network marketing company, and that's what started me to realize, like, you don't have to be rich to start a company. You don't have to have a whole lot of money. You don't have to. All you have to have is a desire, and also find something that you can be passionate about, that you can actually follow. This is what got me started as an entrepreneur.
Wow, yeah. I think, Kevin, network marketing is fantastic. I coach a lot of companies in network marketing, a lot of leaders in network marketing, how to present effectively. And I always tell the people there, right, that the value that being in a network marketing company, more than the commission that you make and the money that you make, is the skills that you develop, right? Because network marketing, only you need to learn about leadership, right? You need to learn how to sell, how to become a leader, and this is key in order for you to be an entrepreneur. And like I always share, it's a skill, it's no talent based. The more you practice, the better you become. I'm sure that you're an amazing coach. Yeah, it didn't come from the sky. You have like been 25 years in business, and so you develop a skill, right? It's like driving. The more you practice, the better you become, right? So uh, so I think that, network marketing, whoever, regardless the company, sometimes the company they close, they open. If you're a network marketing company, you listen to this podcast, right? Get the most important thing already. Develop the skills. Learn how to sell. Learn how to become a leader. And that, Kevin can tell you, that would be very beneficial, because that this is when you realize, Kevin, that you can manage your own time, that you can make as much money you want, because at the end of the day, network marketing is a vehicle, right? If you want more money, you need to work more. If you want to less, you work less. And some people that they are more driving more committing in sales, right? Now, when you make this change, like, rather than, because I've been in network marketing myself, right? And at some point I was thinking, I'm like, wow, how come I'm selling this product and spending so much time? I'm making so little money if I can design the product myself and sell it myself and keep all the money for myself, right? This is the day when I thought that is the day when I quit network marketing. I did it for years. So when you realize that you want to design your own product, and what product was that? And you say, okay, you know what, I'm moving away from network marketing, and I'm going to start my own company.
Well, I mean, one thing about network marketing is that you have to be very passionate about what it is that you're selling. If you don't believe in a product, it's going to show in your face, it's going to show in your
Agree.
attitude. So you have to, if you're going to go
Completely.
the network marketing route, you need to be very passionate about it. Now that company closed in the year of 2000,
Yeah, it
so that they were
happens.
shut down. And but that gave me that taste of entrepreneurship.
Oh, yes.
So uh, so in 2004, I actually moved from North Carolina to Las Vegas, Nevada, in the United States. So I'm sure most of the world has heard of Las Vegas. And in Las Vegas, I started a second business that was based in real estate, and I became very passionate about real estate. I mean, I became a voracious reader. I started getting into real estate in 2002 when I started in North Carolina. I started buying houses, a small apartment complex. But when I moved to Vegas in 2004, where the housing market was exploding, I started a company that was based in doing lease option real estate, or some people know it as rent to own.
Yeah,
And
brilliant.
I ran that
Brilliant.
business for yeah for 8 years. So I mean, I was
Wow.
very passionate about it. I developed my own a business model. I followed some other. I mean, I took on mentors. I started following other people and started learning more about that. And then my focus was always going to be at that time people who had bad credit. Me, back in 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, that was the housing market was exploding, but there are still people that could not qualify for a home.
Of course.
And based upon, and because back then they talked about what was known as liar loans, or almost anybody that had a breath could get a loan. However, there were still some restrictions, and there were people that could not get into homes, and that's why I worked with investors to find them a lease option tenant buyer for that home. And I just built an entire business model around that. I was known as the lease option guy in Las Vegas,
Wow,
and
really? That's amazing.
oh yes. Well, back then, if you were to go onto a website like Google and top 10 lease option Las Vegas, I was on page one of Google at least 5 times. And I
Wow.
learned about how do I promote myself. I also learned that my face is my brand. And this is
Of
going to be
course.
true with almost any small business owner. Your face is part of your brand. Yes, you may have your cute little logos and your colors for your website and whatever, but your face is still your brand. And I capitalized on that. I started shooting videos of myself back in 2009.
Wow.
I shot every single house that I owned or that I was marketing. I was standing in front of the camera. Hello, everybody. This is Kevin Dunlap with Trident Investments Group. Today we're at 123 Main Street. This is blah, blah, blah. I gave the details of the house. I do a tour of the house. And then at the very end, I said, "Hey, well, everybody, thank you for taking a look at 123 Main Street. For more about this home or any of our homes, please just visit us online at," and I give my website and what have you. And I did that probably over 1,000 times in 8 years. So yeah,
Wow.
I got very comfortable with being in front of the camera. Now, I do remember when I started shooting those kinds of videos, it was that I was very nervous. And then I realized, you know what? I mean, I'll be standing in front of the camera. I was going, "Hey, today we're at 123 Main Street. This house is located. Where the heck is this house located at?" Yeah, they go, "Take two." So I do it again. I said, "Hello, everybody. This is Kevin Dunlap, 123 Main Street. This house is located on the crossroads of A Street and B Avenue. This is a what is what's the square footage of this house?" And I
Yeah.
would do that over and over.
Oh,
And I
tell me
would
about
say
it.
that even after 8 years, 9 years, 10 years of doing that, I still made those mistakes.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I learned and I teach other people when they're shooting video. I'll ask them, "Have you ever heard of an actor named Robert Downey Jr.? He was Iron Man, he was Sherlock Holmes, he's these other movies. Do you think he gets it? He's a multimillionaire. Do you think he gets every single take the right time every single time? No. He's going to take two, take three, take four. So why are you putting yourself at a higher level of echelon than a professional actor? So it's okay to do multiple takes. So when I was shooting those videos, I don't know who's watching those videos. There could be people who are following me for weeks, maybe months, maybe even a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. And then they give me a call one day, say, "Hey, Kevin, I want to go look at these two or three houses." I go meet up with them, and they're ready to I sign a contract, a lease option contract with me. And I'll say maybe one out of every 12 or 15 homes, people are putting down five, 10, 15, $20,000. Often they're writing me a check. But once out of maybe every 12 or 15 homes, somebody was paying me $15,000 in cash. All else, do you take hundreds? They're giving me all this money. Like, I didn't even know you even existed yesterday. And here we are, we're doing a contract, and you're putting money down. You're getting a Office Depot a receipt, or a handwritten receipt, and you're getting a piece of paper that has only the telephone numbers of the utility companies. You signed the contract, but we're in the field. I don't have a copy machine. The owner still has to sign the contract. It's like, and it still blew my mind. Like, that's when I really learned that people, when they start following, they see over and over and over and over again, and they begin to trust you. But I
Exactly.
still know who they are. I mean, imagine this. Let's say you are a personal, you're looking for a personal injury attorney, and you see the same guy over and over again on TV, and you call that person, and you're like, "Hey, let's move forward with this." And that attorney, like, "Who the heck are you?" They don't know who you are. So that's the importance of building your brand, building your who you are, building and realizing that your face is your brand. And what as I'm going to dovetail off of this, get past yourself. Don't say, I cannot shoot video. I'm not very good on camera. Yeah, no kidding. Everybody says that. So start building your own brand, building that personal relationship that you want to have with the people or your prospective client.
Okay. So Kevin, because the real estate market in North Carolina, I've been there, right? And over there, the houses are huge, right? And I think that you can make a little bit of money by flipping houses and whatever. When you go to Vegas, because you understood real estate, then you saw the opportunity. So I think that uh, how you identify this market need, how, because the real estate property uh, business or opportunities in North Carolina, right? They are completely here. For example, here in London, it's very difficult to find a lease option, almost impossible. Whether in other areas of United Kingdom, when it's the houses are cheaper and so on, yeah, there's possibility that in Liverpool, for example, you can find these options, deals, and things like that. London is almost impossible. So depends sometimes on the area. The property strategy will work. Yeah, I don't know. For example, if it's easy to find this option in North Carolina, maybe yes, maybe no, right? But uh, every area it have a different strategy for make money in real estate. Now, you move to Vegas, how you identified that was opportunity for a strategy that you even were not doing in previously? Somebody teach you, you read the book, what happened?
Well, when I moved to Vegas initially, I got together with a group of people that were doing, and then again, the housing market in 2004 was exploding at that time, and I found these six investors. None of them lived in Vegas, who
How
were
you find
buying
them?
houses.
How you find them?
And actually, well, before I moved to Vegas, I had a coach through Rich Dad Poor Dad. His name was Eric, and Eric said, "Hey,
Yeah,
Kevin, you got to come to Vegas. This is what's going on in Vegas." And Eric was leaving the Rich Dad Poor Dad coaching business, and Eric had five other people that he was working with, where they were finding foreclosed homes. They would take they would get these homes, they would fix them up, and then they would sell them on seller financing, on owner financing, or owner will carry, however you want to call it. And they required like $50,000 down, $100,000 down, because they were asking for 20% down. And I worked with these guys for a few months. I built a network of investors who are wanting to buy in Vegas. And then this group of people decided, like, hey, we're going to go away. We can't agree on anything. So I had this network of investors, and I go, well, if somebody's doing owner will carry, that's 20% down. Well, what if they just did 3% down and did something like a lease option? So that's a lot more affordable. So at that time in 2004, I got together with a realtor, and we would find people who could not buy a home, for whatever reason, and we would actually go in there and say, okay, hey, get with my realtor. They're going to go and show you houses that are for sale on the MLS. Once you find the house that you liked, I would get it under contract, and then I would assign my interest over to the investors through my network of investors that I built. And they would buy the home, but then sell it back to you at a 20% increase. Because back then, appreciation was 20% or higher on a 1-year contract. That's how my business model started.
Wow.
And I did that for until like 2007. And then when the market says, hey, we don't have 20% interest rate anymore, then I had to adapt to my model. So instead of having the investors go and buy the home for them because the housing market was going down, I would meet investors that who currently had a home in Vegas, an investment property, and say, okay, let's do the same kind of a model. But now instead of having them buy the home, we would talk about, hey, you already got your home, and let's put a lease option tenant buyer into your home. So in 2007, 2008, that's when I adopted my model, and that's what I did until 2020. For the next 12 years. I only worked with investors who currently had a home that wanted somebody to move into their home on a lease option where where the tenant buyer would have a 1 year or 2 year or 3 year contract. They're paying above market rents because they're getting that rent credit. And then if they don't buy the home, the investor made a higher than market rent. Plus, they made that non-refundable option payment. If the tenant buyer did buy the home, which was kind of rare, then they made the amount of money that they knew they wanted to make with that tenant buyer in the home. So regardless, it was a win-win for the owner.
That's brilliant, Kevin. So, Kevin, our journey as an entrepreneurs, right? There is always we learn, we have our successes and our failure, right? But then we talk about fulfillment, right? That sometimes there is a part of the journey of entrepreneur that we are in the position to give back, to make contribution to others, right? I started real estate, same like you. We did a strategy here in London they call rent to rent. So basically, you rent the house and you rent it again, and we were doing this when the crash in 2009 happened. It was a great opportunity because the property market crashed, right? So people didn't have the money to rent the whole flat, right? And also people don't have the money to rent the whole flat, so they need to rent individual rooms, right? And on the other hand, the landlords, all the houses were empty because they couldn't rent it. So you have in one side the landlord with all the houses empty, and then you have the tenants that they cannot afford the full flat, right? So we decided that was a good idea to rent houses from those landlords a very good price because the market was overflow with it was a lot of stock, right? So we got very good prices for the rental houses, and then we rented by the room individually, which was very beneficial for the tenants because they couldn't afford a flat, right? The full flat. So and boy, we did fantastic. We sold over 5 million doing this. It was amazing. That was my first business. But today I'm a coach, right? I travel around the world. I do conference and corporate training, and I help businesses and companies how to grow, and I love it, right? So, was your passion real estate? Because real estate, I love it. Don't get me wrong, right? But honestly, I was doing it for the money, right? My passion, I find my passion actually helping business grow. This is something I can be talking with you forever about businesses. I love it, right? So it was a moment in your life that you say, okay, I love real estate. Don't get me wrong, I make a lot of money. But what I'm really passionate about really made me fulfill is to help these people that are starting off, to help them grow. And that's why you become a coach. or this coaching business that you have at the moment is it's just one more vertical that can give you guys an extra stream of income? Tell us about this.
Well, for me, when I was doing real estate, I mean, I just found a need, and then I capitalized on it because, if you recall, I was dealing with a lot of people that are doing own will carry. I said, well, people can't do that. Let's go a much more cheaper route, and that's where the lease option model came to mind.
And you
Now,
did
one of the
make
things I
money,
learned
very good
about real
money on this,
estate.
yeah, yeah.
Well, the thing is, what I actually loved most about the real estate market was doing the contracts, was negotiating the contract. That was, to me, by far the most fun thing is
It's a
putting
lot of
together
fun,
that
yeah.
contract.
It's a lot of fun because it's never about the money, it's about the terms, right? A lot of people think that it's about the money, and if you can balance the terms of that contract, everything can work out, right, Kevin?
That's the thing, is because by me focusing on putting together the contract, the money comes from the contract. But the thing is, I was not focusing on the money. I was focusing on the contract.
Yeah, you are.
And then when I finally got my real estate license in 2012, and that's when I really, really, really realized that I was not focused upon representing the buyer or representing the seller. I was representing the house. Let's put the buyer
Oh,
and the
wow.
seller together, the tenant and the owner together on the house. I'm representing the house. So yes, at that time, I got, you could call me, I was a dual agent, or I was I was doing multiple representation. Yes, that's what they would call it in the real estate game. But for me, it was like, no, I'm representing the house. I want to do what's best for the house. Let's get somebody in the house that wants to be there, and therefore the owner will make money. The tenant buyer is there to start the process of being a homeowner, or homeowner again in some cases. It was just, I was representing that. Even what I do now, it's like, yes, I love doing the coaching. I love doing that, but I love my favorite part is doing the contract. They're like, let's negotiate, let's talk about this, put this together. And one of the things I learned as well, and I even do this to this day, is whenever I'm putting together a contract, the first thing I wanted to do is, and this is my perspective on things, and I've been doing this for over 20 years, like, how can I make this an enjoyable experience? Because when somebody's buying a house, I'd say I was representing Harry here, and he's going to buy a house, and we're putting together the purchase agreement, and we're doing all the other disclosures, and we're doing all of that. How can I make this fun? How can I make jokes about this? How can I just make this an enjoyable process? I get this can be a stressful process. I get that. Now, that's why I want to make it as light as possible. So when I'm putting together a contract, yeah, when I get to number 5, the fifth line item, how can I make this fun? How can I make this enjoyable? How can I make a joke about this? And a lot of times the joke are going to be my own mistakes. So I mean, one of the jokes I'm saying right now is, this was a real estate contract, and I remember going to a house. I was going to put together a contract, and then I noticed that the neighbor was doing something, so I went over to them, and we put together the entire contract. And we got all the way to the very end. Like, here is your receipt. It goes, that's not my address. Like, so like, okay, so like, okay, let's redo this again. Let's do with the right address this time. And so it was, and I will admit those mistakes. Yeah, but I was even doing this last time. I was telling about that mistake about the wrong house, and so we got to the very end. Go, see, this is where we finally made a mistake, or I made a mistake, and every time they laugh, because I'm trying to make it a fun process. And
That's
the thing is,
fantastic.
whenever
That's
you are,
fantastic because it's a process that is usually is a stress involved. It's the purchase of the house. The people involved are a little bit nervous because it's a lot of money involved. And to make this process a little bit fun, actually remove the friction, remove the resistance, and allow the deal to go through, right?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if it's real estate, coaching, or whatever. Is how can you make
I agree.
that part to me the part of the signing the contracts fun? Because yes, so let's say you have a coaching business and they're going to be spending $10,000 US to work with you, or let's say 10,000 euro, whichever country you're from, and like a bunch, and they're going to have the potential client or the soon to be client is having a reservation. Like, man, this is a lot of money I'm about to invest. But how can you make it fun? How can you make it enjoyable? So when they're doing this, that they feel like, hey, this is the person I want to work with. This is the person that I feel good with. And to me, that's all about building the initial rapport. I signed two contracts yesterday, or had people sign two contracts yesterday, but every single time, like, how can I make this as stress free as possible? And
Yeah.
yes, they're putting down a lot of money. They're trusting me in this process. But the thing is, like, hey, we're going to be working together. Let's make this as enjoyable as possible. And what I see is the biggest issue with a lot of new coaches or people, realtors, or somebody who's just starting out is like they get stressed out on the contract. To me,
Yeah.
the contract is by far the most fun part. It's
Wow.
like,
Oh, my girlfriend Lily will love to speak with you because when she owns a book publishing company, right? And we have to do those contracts with our clients. And oh my God, it's is sometimes going over the contract is it's a difficult part. So is I agree 100% with you. If you make it more enjoyable, more fun, you can, and everything has to make sense, right? It has to be, it has to have a logic behind, right? But there is no point to stress out about the contract. It's just the contract is there are the rules how the transaction will operate, and we can operate without rules, right? So this is what it is.
well, to me, if you're stressing over the contract, then you're probably stressing over your ability. You
Mhm.
don't trust your own ability.
Yeah,
If you already know that you can do this, you already know that you can perform, then the contract should be something very easily done. If
exactly.
you question the contract, then yes, then you're questioning your ability. And but if you know and you know and you know that this is the right thing, then the contract should be the easiest part.
Exactly.
And yes, that takes some time. That takes some that will take some time to get past that, or so it takes some time to build your own self confidence. But once you know and you know and you know and you've done the contract 100 times, 1,000 times, 5,000 times,
Mhm.
then one of the things that I joke about with people nowadays is like when I'm doing a contract, I'm so confident and I know that contract so well. I can read that contract upside down.
Wow.
Because
I
let's say if I'm talking to Harry and this is talking to his wife, her name is Margaret, and they're sitting across from me from a table, and I put the contract in front of them, the paper contract in front of them. I have to know that contract, and I can read it upside down because they're the ones that's reading it right side up. I'm across the table, so I'm reading it upside down, and you just get to know it so well and when you read something upside down, then you know you got the confidence.
yeah,
Then
exactly.
you know because you know that you know what line item one says, you know what line item two says, you know what line item three says, you know what document one, what document two, document three is, and then once you know that and you're confident with that, then it makes it a lot easier. 'Cause then you know where you can put the jokes in.
Yeah.
Back when I was doing my lease option contracts, there's at least five jokes that I said during every single. I said it each and every time. The joke was very old to me. It's like a stand-up comedian. I've said this joke 100 times from stage. But the thing is,
They love it, yeah.
you know where that punchline is. So when like for an example, I'll get to a line item on my rules and regulations says if you're going to make any changes to the house, like painting, whatever, you have to let the landlord know. That's a very dry statement. But then in Las Vegas, there's a very gaudy house, or basically a business that's on the corner of Flamingo and Rainbow. It's a DUI attorney place that's painted a very bright pink. It is just ugly as hell. But I was saying, yeah, if you're going to make changes to your house, you have to let the landlord know. Like, for an example, if you want to paint your house like the house that DUI place on Flamingo and Rainbow, people, oh my God, yes, if you were the landlord, you would want to know that. And they always laughed because they knew how ugly that place was. And they, okay, I get it. Okay, let's go on to the next one.
Yeah, and reduce the friction. Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Sometimes it's regardless that we are 100% sure about the contract, right? Is how the client take the contract, right? And if we can, like you said, make those show easy, remove that friction, so it's easy to understand, then
What's
is
known as easy to understand, it makes them more comfortable, and
more
it's also
comfortable. Yeah,
coincidentally, it's also you're building rapport at the exact same
exactly,
time.
exactly. Building rapport. That's fantastic. So, Kevin, tell us the 5 steps to make your first million.
Well, what I would say is number one, you have to have a very clear idea on what it is that you want to be doing. Because if you're just throwing spaghetti against the wall, seeing what sticks, that's not going to work. Number two is after you get that very clear idea. Number two, you need to find a mentor, a teacher, a mentor, somebody that's done it, somebody that can guide you along the way. And I've said this on many podcasts, and even my own podcast. I said it yesterday on recording. If you're going the free route, that is by far the most expensive way to go. By far, the free is the most
I
expensive
agree, hundred
because
percent.
you can try to do everything for free. And how many years is it going to take you versus hiring somebody like myself or hiring like, hey, let's instead of doing this over a 5-year learning curve, let's do this in 3 weeks. So number two is to definitely find that mentor. And the third thing is, as you're building your business, you're going to be repeating yourself over and over and over and over and over and over again. So you have to be okay with repeating yourself. One of the examples that I like to talk about is: have you ever heard of this guy? I don't know. He's this Hawaiian guy named Robert Kiyosaki. Has anybody ever heard of this guy? Maybe a Rich Dad Poor Dad. Do you think that if you read his books, do you see that? Do you notice that he repeats himself a lot during all of the books? And he's a multi-millionaire, and if not a billionaire, but as the author, because he repeats himself. So you have to be okay with repeating yourself. When somebody comes to you for the very first time, they have not watched they see that one video. They have not watched those other 99 videos where you say the exact same thing. So it's going to be repeating. It is okay to repeat yourself. And then number four is going to be you have to take action. You have to take some massive action. Just thinking about I'm planning on doing, well, let me get my desk this way. You have to take action. And the last thing is you have to be able to revise what you're doing and also to repeat yourself then. So as you're taking action, you're going to learn what works and what doesn't work and revise it. And again, you're going to be repeating yourself over and over again. So the 5 steps is to get a clear idea, get a mentor, be okay with repeating yourself, take massive action, and then revise as you go along. One of my mentors said to me, and it now makes so much sense. He goes, "You build the airplane while you're flying it."
Wow, that's fantastic. So, Kevin, tell us what message do you have from out there for the entrepreneur that say, "Oh, I want to be in business, but I don't want to speak in public, or I don't want to do an interview in the podcast, or I don't want my face in the cover of my book." Um, so, what
Those
message you
people,
have
I
for
would
them?
say, if for that person, I would say keep your job. Don't go into business.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, because
Because if you really want to build your business, you have to be shooting video. You have to be on stage. I mean, if you want to, hey, I want to close one person, let me try to close another person. That might work. But then what if you are given the opportunity to speak on a stage of say 100 people, or maybe you can have it say a 25% a closing ratio. So instead of speaking one-on-one, now you just did one on 25.
exactly.
And you got 25 people in that 45-minute talk that you just gave. You have to be, if you really want to grow big, you have to be okay with yourself being in front of other people, video, on stage, or even creating the the course, or creating a commercial, or creating, your
At
face
some point.
is your brand. So that's the only way that you're going to be able to grow your business successfully. If you're afraid to do that, number one, get past yourself. And then number two, if you can't get past yourself, keep your job, keep your day job.
Yeah,
That's
that
much.
is, yeah. Because today, Kevin, we have to face reality. This is, if we are in business, if we are in entrepreneurs, this is what it is, right? We are in a very competitive. It's not like before. I think that maybe in the 80s, the 90s, right? Some entrepreneurs, you have the big corporate brand, and the people were hiding behind that corporate brand, the CEO, and was okay, right? But today we don't operate like that. Today, a 20-year old kid, right, can wipe out a 20, 30, 50 years experience business, just by develop the direct to consumer strategy. And if the owner of this business is not up to the task, um you get wiped out. I have a one of client that I train, right? He owns 300 supermarkets, right? He's the CEO in Turkey, right? And yeah, he's been the CEO of this big chain supermarket for a long time, right? And yeah, we started to work together because he knew, he identified the need, right, that he had to improve his skills about speaking in public, and to enhance his personal brand, because he knew that the way that it was conducting before, it was working before, but now we're in a completely different ball game. And today he's sending me um, a lot of LinkedIn every time that he speak on the stage and people are clapping him and things like that. He shared with me in LinkedIn. I said, Harry, have you seen me speaking here in Harvard, this and that? Look, I'm doing it, right? And so I think that it makes a big difference for his life, but also for his business, because what you think, in today's marketplace, people want to know who's the person behind that business. The consumer are getting very savvy, right? And for example, Kevin, you look very, you're certain about your contract. You're certain about the service that you provide. You love this paperwork because you know that you can deliver whatever is there, right? And that says a lot
Mhm.
about you. That says a lot about your services, what you stand for, right? So you put in not only the contract, you put in your face to that contract, and you see the people say, okay, let's read it together. This is what we're gonna do, and let's go for it, right? So, and it comes the ethical part of it, right? I think that if you out there doing business ethically, right, you shouldn't have any problem signing the contract, or doing anything, right? The people, sometimes we talk to people, say, oh, I don't want to write my book, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And we are thinking that, oh, maybe maybe they don't want to be out there for other reasons. That makes sense. So
Because I'm the author of 4 books. I've got my second podcast running right now. I mean, like I said, I've shot hundreds of videos, not over 1,000 videos. The thing is, for people who are wanting if you want to take your business to the next level, you have to you have to expose yourself, and that does mean, yes, will people criticize you? Absolutely, they will. And I remember from my very first mentor back in 1999, he says, when people are starting to criticize you, that's when you know you're successful. Because if you're
exactly.
always pleasing every single person every single time, then you're just a yes man or a yes woman. But the thing is, when people are starting to say, hey, look at this person, I don't like what he's doing. Finally, I made it.
So Kevin,
So
if the entrepreneurs I'm listening this podcast, and they need some help in coaching, in guidance, how can they find you, and how this
I'm
process
sorry.
works?
Well, if they want to get a hold of me, the best thing for them to do is to actually schedule a one-on-one with, and that's going to be ultimateperformanceacademy.org/discovery. Now, and again, the performance
And then, Kevin, you coach them, you help them on with real estate or with business in general?
Business in general. Now, if you're in real estate, then yes, I can work with you there. I mean, I treasured myself as being the creative real estate guy. Back when I lived in Vegas, lease option seller financing, sub two, or subject to existing financing. I mean, I bought my first apartment complex on where the seller was the bank. So there's so many things that you can do. Now, I don't know your market. I may not know your area. I don't know how you do things in London or in Australia or in Sydney or in South Africa. I have no idea, but I can give you some of the ideas and strategies that you want to work with. But if you're a business owner, that's who I usually target right now, is how do we grow your business?
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Kevin, for the podcast. And to every single one listen, remember, right? If you're in network marketing, this is good. You will develop skills, leadership and sales skills that you can use in the future in your own business. Remember to find a mentor, right? And find the right niche and the right opportunity. And off you go. You can start your business and make your first million faster than you even thinking. If you're doing it in real estate, particularly, is one of the easiest way for you guys to get from 0 to 1 million faster. And if you want to mentor real estate in United States, you can contact Kevin of your in business in general, right? So thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and see you in our next episode, how brave entrepreneurs break that wall and achieve the first million in sales. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.